tons of cheese. See, we're taking our goat cheese. This is going to be a cheesy mess. Swiss cheese on top first. Feel free to swap out whatever cheese you want. A lot of cheese.
Guys, the video we're talking about today is not ideal. Now, we all know and love Jack Scalfani on this channel, and recently Jack has returned home after being in the hospital for a while after suffering his third stroke. Now, while that alone is definitely not a fun topic to talk about already, it gets worse. Now, Jack having strokes is not a secret on his channel. He's talked about it pretty openly before in the past, and he's even talked about how the doctors told him it was because of his diet. He's tried various different diets like the keto diet because of it, but it's no mystery to him or his viewers why he's had these strokes. We've seen some of the stuff he's eaten in the past, and it adds up. Now, what's making this topic so much more unenjoyable to talk about is that Jack has recently started uploading again. He's uploaded a few videos in the past few weeks, but they were things that were recorded before the stroke, but he's recently released his first new video after actually being back, like that's been filmed since his return from the hospital, and, well, it's not looking very good. Now look, my intention is not to sit here and berate a man who just had his third stroke, but when you see the recipe that's being made here, given the circumstances, it's kind of hard to just act like there's not a problem. Is it my problem? Well, no, not even in the slightest. So why am I making this video, you ask? Well, I don't have to answer that. I appreciate the concern though. So if it's okay with you, I'd like for you to stop interrogating me and maybe we can get to the video, okay? Is that okay with you? All right, sounds good. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
All right, guys, so we're heating up a pan right now. Then we're going to cook our mushrooms with our brown meat. First brown the meat, because the mushrooms only take a few minutes. Okay, guys, after you brown all the meat, then dump all your mushrooms on top. Probably about 8 minutes until they shrivel up. You kind of eyeball this one, okay? Mushrooms and the garlic and the meat is all blending nicely. Mushrooms are softened. We're going to be putting together our casserole in a few minutes, and then we're going to be popping it in the oven.
Alright, so at this point we haven't quite descended into madness yet. I mean, ground beef is not the greatest thing for you, but I mean, you're gonna be okay. Especially if you use like 97.3 or something. If you use an 80-20, maybe rethink your life choices. But I mean, just some mushrooms, beef, and garlic. Your doctor's probably not too mad yet, but we're definitely gonna get there.
So take half your mixture and throw it in your, I'm doing a 9x13 because I doubled the recipe. You'll probably have a 4x4 according to the recipe.
Jack, buddy, I looked up the original recipe and it says that it serves 4, and you live with one person. Maybe we don't need to double. Maybe that's not necessary, okay?
But we're just lining the bottom with some mixture. It should take about half, and then we'll leave the other half to put on top after we've cheesed it up. Let's take your Swiss cheese. I've got slices cut up, and just lay it all over. And it should just, basically right now, it should just melt. But we're gonna bake it anyways in a few minutes. You don't have to be so uniform.
It's just, they're just stuck together. They're fighting against me.
There's a lot of cheese.
Yeah, Jack, there is, and that's one of the issues I have with this video. There is so much cheese in this recipe that I think if Jack told his doctor that this was his first meal after coming home, the doctor would have a heart attack. I mean, like, seriously, Jack, come on. I know for a fact that if you're having strokes because of your diet, that your doctor probably did not tell you to go home and eat red meat, oil, and cheese. If I had to put money on it, I would actually guess that he said the opposite.
So like those slices are gonna go on the ends. There's gonna be tons of cheese in this. There you go. Okay, now as you can see, we're taking our goat cheese and we're throwing that on there too in the mix. This is going to be a cheesy mess. Be ready for it. Okay guys, we're gonna add the second layer now. We have all our cheese on. Whatever hasn't melted already, will melt in the oven in a few minutes.
Jack, we're dealing with about 16 pounds of cheese here, so I'm not sure you can really make that promise. Like, not only is this not exactly great for you, I'm hesitant to even call this a recipe. Sticking beef, mushrooms, and cheese into a pan and calling it a casserole is kind of generous, not gonna lie.
So we're gonna do the sliced Swiss cheese on top first to cover the whole top, and then we're gonna sprinkle the top with our garnish, the scallions, and it's gonna look beautiful. Now, when you're done putting it all together, you're gonna throw it in the oven at 375 for about 15 minutes, or until all the cheese is melted and bubbly. That looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Jack, to be honest with you, no, it actually doesn't. Not only because visually it's nothing really to write home about, I know what's in there, which takes away any possible beauty there might be. What's in there, you may ask? Well, I would be glad to tell you. Like I said, I found the original recipe and I've doubled it, and I've done a few calculations, and roughly, when dealing with 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 pounds of mushrooms, 16 slices of Swiss cheese, and 2 cups of goat cheese, on the low end, we're looking at around 6,000 calories, most of which is from fat. I think the scariest part of this is that I'm assuming it's his wife who's helping him make this. Is nobody saying anything? Like, is nobody around him going, hey man, maybe this is not the best recipe to be pursuing so soon after a stroke? Because if nobody's saying that, that's a little sad.
Smells great. So we're just gonna take a little bit out, put it on a plate. There we go. Look how cheesy that is. Okay, lay this off to the side for dinner so that everybody can have it. Okay guys, you ready? Let's give this a try. A lot of cheese.
You know, Jack, I keep hearing a lot of cheese, but I would really maybe instead like to hear the phrase too much cheese. Just a little bit of awareness of the situation would be great. Even for a person who's not at risk for stroke, I can't imagine this would be that enjoyable to eat. Not only the actual experience of eating it, but, you know, good luck on the toilet after a few servings.
Not sure the goat cheese is gonna work for me. Feel free to swap out whatever cheese you want. Come on, there we go. Geez, it's all stuck together. Come on, here we go. I didn't think this was gonna be good. This is better than I thought.
Jack, I mean, what do you even mean? If you like mushrooms, and you like beef, and you like cheese, there's genuinely no chance this would not at least taste okay. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is not a very complex recipe. There's nothing really to mess up. I feel like this is something you would know you would like before you even made it.
Probably because I haven't had real food in like 67 days. I'd make this again, but I think I'd use Mexi or cheddar cheese in the mix.
Guys, I'm really not trying to be mean here, but how do you spend 67 days in a hospital for a stroke, surely being talked to about your diet and how you need to improve things so this doesn't happen again, and then have the first thing that you eat when you finally come back home be this? How does that happen? Jack, if you ever see this video, I hope you can take it with a grain of salt, and just know that the people who watch your videos do not want to see this happen again, but hey, people are gonna do what they want to do, and what some random guy on the internet says is not gonna matter to them, so I guess we'll just see. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.
Subscribe.